let's just focus on that for a minute, man. About undoing the things that were instilled in us, unlearning these bad behaviors. And no disrespect to our parents, no disrespect to any parents that were born in that. I mean, that has '80s babies. No disrespect to the parents, man. But I truly believe that they did the best they could.
Facts.
But at the same time, there's a certain level of ignorance that was going on that they wasn't aware of. Just like with us in our generation, we're now learning these things because we have the tools to, learn it for ourselves. But no one was teaching us anything. Just like if you go back to the '60s and '70s when our parents was, coming up, times was way worse than they are now. So yeah, of course they wasn't getting, the right resources and everything that they needed to be better adults or better people. So we have to unlearn a lot of those things that they thought was the right way,
thought was gonna be beneficial to them, and they weren't.
And one thing we have to do, we got to stop putting our babies out on the street at 18 and 19. I used to feel that way because it was kind of put on me in a sense, not forcefully, but I had an alternative. At 18, 19, you're not ready for the most part to be on your own. Okay? You haven't lived, you haven't you don't even have credit for the most part. So how are you supposed to go out there and live and get started without having something? And I'm just going back to your point. You should have, when you send them out there to the world, they should have something to take with them.
So that's
start from scratch.
So hold on.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
So I say that to say, kicking them out or not kicking them out, but encouraging them to leave the house so early, to me that could be more detrimental than it can be helpful. Because first of all, they say the human brain is not fully developed until 25? What are we doing putting you out here at 18, 19, 20? And these jobs ain't paying like they used to. Inflation is crazy. So it's like, I don't subscribe to that theory anymore, man. I'm more so, you could stay, but you still you can't be just laying around doing nothing. You have to be working towards something. You have to be preparing. You have to be doing something. Okay. Because we're not just going to have you playing Call of Duty and that's it. And I'm getting up, going back and forth to work. She getting up, going back and forth to work. And you just, we out of chips. Nah, it got to be something productive.
Okay. So I get where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say I disagree because I don't. Because I've seen it.
And not saying you can't be successful from that journey. I just think it kind of stacks the deck against you a little bit.
No, I got you. So what it really is it's two parts. First is you gotta know your child. You gotta know your child. Some children are adults at 12. Some ain't adults at 30. You gotta know your child. You gotta know the child that you raised, that you looked in the eye, that you've been seeing every day. You got to know that child.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second part of that is, if you do want them to get out at 18, you must train them to get out at 18. Because I am a strong believer in children and young adults do well what they are trained to do well.
Mm.
So in other countries, it is absolutely common practice for you to get the hell out your people's house at a young age. And they do absolutely fine with it. I've had the privilege and pleasure of living outside of this country. So I've seen other cultures and how other cultures deal with it. And what they do is they do a better job of preparing their youth
equipped with the proper tools.
Japan, for instance, they go to school for 7 days. They go to school 7 days a week.
All year round.
Year round.
I was just when you were saying
by the time you 14 and 15, you are absolutely fucking ready because you have been educated, you have gotten tools, you have gotten some things that you need so you can start from you are not starting from a place of nothing.
And their schools are teaching useful things.
Shit. Where I 1000% agree with you is if you ain't taught that kid nothing and ain't gave that kid nothing to just throw them to the wolves, yeah, their success rate is going to be lower than someone who was given a foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so my thing would be to give them a foundation, because that's something like I was out my people's house at 16. So I get it. But I was also taught certain things. to be out my people's house at 16 and be overseas at 19 and go to war at 20. Like I was taught certain things as far as leadership, manhood, principles, morals, values. So when I did get into those situations, I could glean back to that. And that's what I did. I gleaned back to what my father taught me. I gleaned back. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He went back and said, okay, all right, boom. All right, mom's taught me. All right, boom. All right, pops taught me, boom. Brother taught me, boom. So then when I'm conducting myself as a grown-ass man, they looking like, damn, you only 19 years old. It's like, yeah, because I was taught. But then you see another 19-year-old that acts like a fucking idiot, and you're looking at them like, what? And it's like, you weren't. Didn't have parents. I didn't have nobody telling me to go to school. I didn't have nobody, like, growing up in this environment, my whole motivation was never to come back.
Yeah.
My whole motivation was, bro, y'all out here bullshitting and playing. Like, y'all out here bullshitting and playing because y'all can. Y'all got parents and people to fall back on. I don't. If this shit don't work,
yeah,
I'm fucked.
Yeah.
So that's a different type of motivation and whatnot. But yeah, we got to do a better job with our kids, just letting them know how serious it is out here. Because again, if they're going to school at 18 and going to school at 19, I encourage it, because I didn't grow up until I got out of my parents' house and got away from what I knew and went out on my own and had to figure it out on my own. I couldn't call home.
Yeah. I
didn't even know what a checking account was when I left St. Louis. When I was, you know what I'm saying, when I was going to the military. So I had to learn all that shit. And I'm happy for it. Again, going through it, you pissed off because you like, again, everybody else, they know what a checking account is. They know what a paycheck stub is. They've lived on their own before. They had a driver's license. They had a car. Like, I'm learning how to do all of those things.
Because there's kids out here with these jobs, bro. Like, you know, these stores
jobs
don't even have a bank account.
Yeah.
They're using Chime or whatever little app. They don't even have like that.
But again,
account.
That's to the point that I was making earlier. That's what we feel.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to sit down with you and go, hey, this is what a checking account looks like. These are what these numbers mean. These are what these numbers mean. 10% of your income you should be putting in. This is what a budget looks like. These are what investments are. These are stocks. These are bonds. These are long terms. These are short. Like, give them the game. But you give them nothing, then you put them out. Yeah, you set them up for failure.
Sending them out to the slaughter.
But to kind of shoot them some bail, some of them wasn't taught shit.
Yeah.
So you the blind leaving the blind.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So you trying to teach these kids, you a kid.
And then keep in mind, parents are getting younger by the day.
Younger and more immature.
So
more immature. Not understanding the gravity of what they doing raising kids. Yeah. These kids gonna hit these streets, they gonna hit this society. And whatever you taught them is what they're gonna reflect and give to society.
That's a fact.
And if you ain't teach them shit, well, then there you go.
Okay.
And then we got a place for you if you really ain't learned shit, that we will put you in and we will absolutely rehabilitate you.
Yeah.
And teach you if you ain't been taught.
Yeah. So then what they gonna teach you, you don't want to learn.
You don't want to learn that shit.
You don't want to learn that.
And you don't want to learn the way they want to teach you.